Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 50 of the Drop It podcast. This podcast is tailor-made for those of you with weight to lose, those of you that are losing weight now, and those of you that are bathing in the success of your weight loss accomplishment. If it's your first time on the show, welcome. I'm your host, Nick Geoppo, and 5.5 years ago, I lost 110 pounds after a lifetime of losing weight and then quitting and gaining the weight back month after month, year after year on every single diet that you have ever tried. And then in 2019, I started actually working on sustainable lifestyle changes, changing my baseline habits, working on my mindset, and created a diet for myself rooted in common sense and simplicity that just made it stupidly easy for me to actually keep the weight off this time. And I called it the Common Sense Diet. So if you're fed the fuck up with losing weight and then gaining it back, feeling like you're not disciplined enough, and putting time, mental energy, and effort into things that you actually deep down know are not sustainable, I'd recommend starting the Common Sense Diet today. If you want to work with me to make it happen and see if it's a good fit for the both of us, you can fill out the application in the podcast description of this episode. It'll take you to a 4 or 5 minute application to fill out. Once you fill that out, it will take you straight to my calendar to book a call with me directly. If it's a good fit for both of us, then we'll go on this journey together and actually keep the weight off after starting your last day one ever. If it's not a good fit for both of us, then I'll do what I can to point you in the right direction of something that I think might help you. So go ahead and fill out the app, and looking forward to speaking with you one-on-one. This podcast episode, I can't believe we're 50 episodes in. It's almost been a year of podcasting. You know, when I started episode 1, I never thought that it's hard to visualize 50 episodes when you're just starting, right? It feels like losing weight. It's hard to visualize the end sometimes when you're just starting. There's so far to go, it feels like. But you just keep going, one episode at a time, 1 pound at a time, one meal at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month, 1 year at a time. And now we're 50 episodes in, and I can't imagine going back to not podcasting. I love this shit. I love connecting with y'all. I love sharing my story authentically and having y'all relate to it, and having y'all reach out and ask me having y'all reach out and ask me questions, and just resonating so much because no one really talks about this stuff. Like, no one really actually talks about what it takes, the reality of overhauling your life in a way that doesn't fucking suck. It's all count your calories in MyFitnessPal or go on this crazy diet, and here's your workout routine, and here's your 3 tips to stay motivated. It's like, and here's my group chat. Here's our Facebook group for our community. Like, oh my God, the amount of programs like that I joined when I was fat that were just a metric waste of my time and money, and just led to me being more obsessed with weight loss and never actually making permanent change. That's the reality of the weight loss industry. And it's brutal. It's brutal. 90% of the weight loss advice comes from people that were never even fat. 9% of it comes from people that are losing weight right now, which is beautiful and motivating, right? It doesn't mean that they're giving bad advice, but it's tough because you have to take into account that most people gain the weight back, including myself, every single year from 2013 to 2019. Like, the idea of me having a weight loss podcast while I was losing weight, I would have been giving all of the wrong advice because I gained the weight back every single time. And losing weight doesn't mean anything if you don't keep the weight off. It just doesn't. The other 1% of the advice comes from people that have actually kept the weight off for more than a couple of years. But in my experience, even a lot of those people are still on strict diets. They're still living in restriction. They're still counting calories. They're still not having a great relationship with food or a very healthy mindset. They're still kind of controlled by food, have a lot of food noise, think about it, talk about it a lot. And it's just not the reality that I wanted. I couldn't find anyone. I could not find a single fucking person that had actually put obesity behind them the way that I wanted to. So I just committed my life to becoming the person that I needed. And it feels really good to look back almost a year into podcasting and to see that I have. It makes me very proud of myself. And I hope that you resonate with that. And if you take away anything from this show, it's that change absolutely is possible. You can just consciously decide to change who you are as a person. And one of the best ways to better your life is by changing the foods that you put into your body. And in turn, you're going to be working on your mindset, your relationship with food, and your relationship with yourself. And that's the beauty of natural weight loss. Episode 50 is dedicated to my client, Abigail. I've been working with Abigail for 12 weeks. She started at 145.6 pounds and is down to 133.8 pounds. So she lost about 12 pounds in 12 weeks. And this is what she had to say about her experience. She says, I have officially finished 12 weeks. Wow. I am 12 pounds less than when I started. I haven't been this weight in a really long time. I feel much more comfortable in my body, and I'm excited to see where these new habits take me. I'm really proud of myself for committing to this program, and I'm so grateful for Nick and the entire community. Working together in community was exactly the motivation that I needed. Congratulations, Abigail. It's been such an honor to see you through this journey, and I'm looking forward to continuing to see you through achieving your goal and continuing to practice, maintain, and master the habits and the lifestyle changes that we've been working on together for the last few months. So congratulations. Again, the topic of the podcast today is the holiday season. So we're going to be going through 5 different things for you to consider, keep in mind, and practice this holiday season if you're someone that's stressed out about navigating food during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, during New Year's, everything you need to know about how to make it through without food controlling your holiday or making your holiday worse is going to be in this episode. When I was fat as fuck, I didn't like the holidays as much as I wanted to because I was so stressed about food. So I would do a bunch of weird shit. I would undereat for the days going into the holiday just so that I could overeat on the holiday. Or I would just quit on whatever I was doing in November and then restart on January 1st or 2nd because we had Thanksgiving here in the United States, followed by Christmas, followed by New Year's. And it was just this vicious cycle of me kind of planning my life around food and just consuming so much of my thought. The food noise during the holiday season used to be so loud for me. What I mean by food noise is I'm thinking about food all the time. And it just made it less enjoyable. So what I did when I lost weight for the last time in 2019 was I started writing down things and I coached myself through how to make it through the holiday season. And here is exactly what I wrote down. Here are the 5 things. The first one is the purpose of the holiday is not to eat. Let me say that again. The purpose of the holiday is not to eat. The purpose of the holiday is to connect with the people that you're celebrating the holiday with, either your friends, your family, your neighbors, or whoever that might be. And the food is just there to make that experience better. The food is not there to be the focus. So when you find yourself over-focusing on the food or stressing out about the food, remind yourself that the food is there to help you connect with others, not to be the reason that you're gathering. You are not gathering with your family for a meal. You are eating a meal to gather with your family. Feel the difference between those two things. And just that mindset, bringing that little bit of mindfulness and presence into your meal with your family in that way and reminding yourself of that will really help you to slow down. It will really help you to visualize like, oh, this is meant to be connection and culture and love, and whoever cooked this food, if it isn't you, is cooking it from a place of love and wanting to connect with you, not from a place of wanting to watch you just pound the food until you feel sick and think about the food all the time and be so consumed with how many calories are in XYZ thing during the holiday season that you're not the same conversationalist and it's harder for you to connect with the other people at the table. So zoom out from what's happening and recognize that the purpose of the holiday is not to eat. The purpose of the holiday is to connect with others. The second thing that I wrote down was leave the holiday at the holiday. I was the most guilty person ever of doing this. So I would go to a holiday dinner with my family and then just want to bring everything home and have leftovers for days and weeks, or wake up after Thanksgiving Day and just eat Thanksgiving dinner again for breakfast, or wake up after Christmas and just eat for days on end. And it's like, if that's not even the holiday. The holiday is one fucking day. Thanksgiving is one day. Christmas is one day, and New Year's is one day. 3 days are not going to throw you off unless you let it throw you off, right? You're not cheating on a diet. You're just continuing the issue. So one of the best things you can do to leave the holiday at the holiday is not bring any leftovers home if you're eating with somebody else. No leftovers. If there's leftover pie, leave the pie. Leftover potatoes, stuffing, leave the potatoes. Leave the stuffing. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this holiday dinner, and I love you, and the food was amazing. I'm going to not bring the food home, but it was so delicious, and I would love to, but I just know myself, and I know that. Then I'll just end up eating all of it tonight and tomorrow morning and then feeling full. And that's kind of disrespectful to the food. I want to respect the food and respect what it means to eat a normal portion of it. So I'm just going to leave it here. But thank you very much. And a lot of this comes down to controlling your environment, right? This is the sixth rule of the common sense diet. Control your environment by leaving the holiday at the holiday. If you're hosting the holiday party, you're the one cooking, having people over, or it's at your apartment, your house, your kitchen, whatever. Don't cook so much that there are a bunch of leftovers. If there are leftovers, send all of the leftovers home with other people. Don't keep the leftovers in your house. And I get it, right? Those of you that are the cooks of your family, it's, but my family really likes having leftovers for days on end. Yeah, but practice not doing it this year. Make it a tradition that the holiday only happens on the holiday, because what it's going to do is actually make that holiday meal even more special. Thanksgiving dinner is less special when you eat it 4 days in a row. Christmas dinner is less special when you're just eating bullshit for 3 or 4 days. Imagine if it really was just one meal, or it really was just one day. How much more meaningful and traditional and how much more memory there would be tied to that one day. The third thing I wrote down was eat mom's apple pie. And this is the ninth rule of the common sense diet. And what it really means is eat celebratory foods celebratorily. So practice eating one slice of pie. This idea that you're on a diet, so you're not going to eat the pie, doesn't make any sense, because that's you just being controlled by your diet, right? The answer is in finding balance. It's in eating one slice. It's not in saying, no, mom, I can't eat the pie, I'm on a diet. But it's also not in saying, thanks, mom. Thanks for the slice of pie. I'll have a third and a fourth one and then bring the pie home and eat 2 pieces every day until it's gone. The answer is in balance, eating one fucking slice of pie. People that have healthy relationships with food can eat one slice of pie. Everyone wants a second slice, even people that were never fat and that have healthy relationships with food and healthy mindsets. They still want a second slice of pie. They're just comfortable saying, I probably don't need that, and then they kind of forget about it. So you have to practice that by pretending that you have a healthy mindset, because once you do it just 2 or 3 times, you've maybe never done that in your entire life. I went years having never done that one time in my entire life. I was always either under eating on a diet or overeating to just get as much as I can before I restart my diet again. I was never just in the middle. When you're celebrating something, practice eating in the middle, a normal portion size. So have one slice of pie and give yourself permission to sit with the discomfort of wanting a second piece. Literally say out loud, walk to the bathroom. If you're at your Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, New Year's lunch, whatever, walk to the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror when you want a second slice of pie or a second scoop of potatoes or a second scoop of stuffing or a third roll of bread, and say out loud, I give myself permission to sit with the discomfort and prove to myself that I have control over what I put into my body. I give myself permission to sit with the discomfort and prove to myself that I have control over what I put into my body. When you win the moment just 2 times, just twice, it will change the way you look at food forever. This is a great reference point, because if you can find it in yourself, let me reframe that. When you find it in yourself to not overeat so drastically that you feel disgusting during the holidays, when you practice eating normal portion size on the holidays, you just prove to yourself that you can do it. You just prove to yourself that you can do it in one of the most difficult situations, right? And if you can do it during the holidays, then you can absolutely do it during the not holidays. So let's look at this as an opportunity to practice, not to avoid, not to give ourselves permission to eat whatever the fuck we want in any portion size, but to practice eating the foods that other people are eating, but just one serving. You deserve to know that you can do that, and you can. The fourth thing I wrote down is you cannot gain that much fat in one meal. So this is really rough math, but a pound of fat is approximately 3,600 calories. That's going to vary drastically depending on your gender, your height, your weight, your metabolism, and all those things. But for most people, it's about 3,600 calories. So the idea that you're going to gain 2 pounds in one day of fat is almost impossible, because you would need to eat 3,600 times 2, which is 7,200 calories over your maintenance. So if your maintenance is 1,500 calories and you're going to gain 2 pounds of fat in one day, you'd have to eat 7,200 plus 1,500, which is 8,700 calories in one day. There are very few people in the world that can eat that. When I was at my heaviest, the biggest binge days I ever had were in the 6,000 to 7,000 calorie range, and they were debilitating. Couldn't move for 1 to 2 days afterwards, right? You're not going to be able to eat that much food. That being said, you might wake up and weigh 2 to 3 pounds heavier the next day. It's not because you gained 2 to 3 pounds of fat. It's because you ate carbs. Carbs act like a sponge, and they absorb water like a sponge does. So when you eat a lot of carbs, your body holds more water. That's why sometimes your face looks a little bloated when you eat a lot of carbs, or even a lot of salty foods. In that case too, they kind of go hand in hand. But give yourself permission to just recognize that it is actually impossible to gain that much fat in one meal or in one day. And when you practice leaving the holiday at the holiday and not carrying it over into days on end, you'll recognize you actually are the person that decides whether or not the holiday, quote unquote, throws you off track. Like, you can just consciously decide to not let the holiday throw you off track. And you can just consciously decide that if you gain a couple pounds, you're going to look more bloated after Thanksgiving. Everyone does. Even people that aren't fat do. Even people that have healthy mindsets and healthy relationships with food gain 2 or 3 pounds the day after Thanksgiving, and the day after Christmas, and probably the day of New Year's or whatever. But the idea is to just really recognize that that's not fat, and that all that weight's going to come off. And that leads us into the fifth thing, which is just don't weigh yourself for a week. Don't weigh yourself for 1 week after the holiday. Don't weigh yourself before the holiday and then weigh yourself after to see how much weight you gained. Just don't weigh yourself, period. Just continue to focus on prioritizing real foods, stay on the common sense diet, eat mom's apple pie when she makes it in a normal portion size during the holiday meal, but don't weigh yourself the morning of and the morning after, because you're going to feel disappointed. And what that does is it creates this negative relationship with the scale that we're trying to work on. So the fifth thing, don't weigh yourself before the holiday. Don't weigh yourself 1 week after the holiday, because it's going to put you in this mindset of being on track, off track, on your diet, off your diet. You're going to look at the holiday like a cheat meal. It's not a cheat meal. It's just celebrating your connection with other people, and food is a part of that. It has been for all of human history. The idea that you're going to dissociate from that and let it fuck up your mind is not healthy for you. So just don't weigh yourself. If you do get on the scale, even though you shouldn't, just recognize that it's not fat that you gained. And if you wait 1 week to weigh yourself and you just continue, you get back to normal programming and you leave the holiday at the holiday, meaning the day after Thanksgiving, you go back to your go-to meals, meaning the day after Christmas, you still wake up and you still go on your walk, and then you eat your normal healthy breakfast without trying to make up for it by eating less, you'll see that you're right back to your normal weight a week later. Maybe even you still lost weight if you're someone that's actively losing weight right now. And that's very possible. And when you see that happen on the scale, it will be really motivating for you, and you'll just gain a ton of confidence in your ability to navigate food choices and decisions in social settings, especially around the holidays when there's a bunch of bullshit food. Some other things to keep in mind are, if you're the fat person in your family, I was the really fat person in my family, and people talk to me about what diet are you on and all this. If you're in a social situation, especially at the holiday, and you're eating less food than you normally would, meaning you're the guy like me or the girl that would eat 3 and 4 servings of everything and just keep eating until you felt really full. When you eat less, other people might kind of say things, and not in a rude way, maybe in a rude way, but they might joke about, oh, what diet are you on? Or, oh, you're trying to lose weight. Or, oh, come on, it's just the holiday. It's just Christmas. It's one meal. Eat whatever the fuck you want. Really practice not telling anyone that you're on a diet. You really don't owe it to anyone, including your own friends or family, to explain to them what you're doing. But if you feel called to do so and you want to own it, this is something that I practice a lot, and the language around this really helps. Look at someone and say, I'm practicing prioritizing my health. And I really love this food. I'm just practicing eating a normal portion size because I want to feel really good in my body. And I want to feel more comfortable and stop thinking about food so much. So I'm just practicing. But I love you. And just say, and you just completely disarm them. And it really makes sense that people say that stuff. It makes sense that people said that to me. It probably makes sense that they say it to you, because if you're anything like me, you've been telling people that you're going to lose weight forever, and then you just lost some weight and then quit every time. So of course, no one's really going to actually believe in you, right? You have to believe in yourself just a little bit, but no one else is going to believe in you, especially in the beginning, because you've lied every time. I lied every time, and it's not for lack of trying. It's just for lack of doing things that weren't sustainable, never working on our mindset, never working on permanent sustainable lifestyle changes, never doing something rooted in common sense and simplicity that doesn't fucking suck, that you can actually do forever. That is all of the ways to navigate the holiday season. The last thing I'll say is, if you're a listener to this podcast and you're thinking that you're going to restart your diet on January 1st or 2025 is really going to be your year, come on. You don't need me to tell you that you said that this last year and the year after. So my recommendation would be, start right now. Do not wait until after the holiday. Start right now and look at the holiday as a way to practice. And that's just the best way. Tomorrow's never going to come. January 1st isn't coming. You're never going to get there. January 1st comes, you're going to wake up a little hungover and then go to brunch and then think that we'll do it on January 2nd. But January 2nd will be a Thursday. I don't really know. I'm not looking at the calendar. And then you'll want to wait till Monday. Now it's January 6th or 7th. And then it's just in February, and then it's Valentine's Day, and then March is St. Patty's Day. And then April's spring break for the kids. And then May's the start of summer. May, June, that's like barbecue season. July is 4th of July. August is really hot. I don't like going on walks outside when it's super hot, so I'm going to wait to restart until it gets a little colder. And then I get to September. Wake me up when September ends. You get to October. Halloween, baby. November, Thanksgiving, December, Christmas. Again, I'll start in 2026. Just start right fucking now. Start in November of 2024. And if you don't lose as much weight as you would have because of the holidays, that's fine. It's not a race to lose as much weight as you fucking can. We're just prioritizing our health. It's not a race or a competition. We're prioritizing our health so we can feel good about our own lives and our own bodies. And you can start feeling good before the new year if you just start right now. Imagine getting to the new year and already feeling like you have more comfort around food. How much easier would the holidays be if you had more comfort around food? If you're thinking, yeah, but I want to enjoy the holiday by eating everything that I can, you've already lost the game. Like, this literally is the problem. This is the thing that you have to work through. You're not going to work through it by just avoiding it and then waiting to start until afterwards, because what's going to fucking happen next year? Let's do it right now. You deserve to do it right now. If you made it to the end of the podcast episode, you absolutely have what it takes to make it through the holiday season. It might be hard, but it is simple. It's difficultly simple. And you can do it. You deserve to do it. You deserve to prove to yourself that you can. So be your biggest cheerleader. Root yourself on. Cheer for yourself. Tell yourself that you can, you will, and you are right now. If you made it to the end of the episode, please leave us a review for episode 50, either on Spotify or Apple or Podbean or any other platform that you're listening on. It's the best way to support me as a storyteller, and it's the best way to get this content out to other people that really need it. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving if you're in the United States, and we will see you next week.